policing the police every single day, and doing what the Charlotte County Sun newspaper and local TV stations won't do every single day.
About facts versus fear, just making sure that we're data-driven, that we're focusing on what actually is the truth and not allowing things to get carried away. And I just think it's, we're Duval County in mid-April allowed recreational access to its beaches. This, for some reason, drew the attention of a lot of folks in the national media. They were saying that this was a really bad thing. Of course, you look at the photo that's used, it's like, get that lens right in that area so that it looks like there's so many people crowded out there. So you had that. You had a lot of negative things said about the people of Northeast Florida on the internet and in some of these articles. And the thought was, okay, things are going to be just so bad there. They're not social distancing. This is going to cause problems. And so, this was 17 days ago. But before we talk about the facts.
So what are our rights? And are they the same during a pandemic? NBC-2's Cristina Mendez talked to experts who dedicate hours studying this kind of law to get us all answers. Christina?
Well, many of you have been wondering about your constitutional rights, specifically the right to assemble, perhaps in groups larger than 10. Well, a lawyer specializing in First Amendment law explains under certain circumstances, the government can legally limit those rights for the safety of our health. Before beaches reopened.
My message is, I think the government has gone too far.
Before you could dine in for dinner.
I just had tyranny show up in my driveway and tell me that we can't do this.
People across Southwest Florida were protesting.
It's overhyped, and I just want to let the community know they do have rights.
Or completely going against the governor's safer at home order.
Yeah, I think people have the right to choose to do what they like.
Tommy Lee Cook owns the Buckingham Blues restaurant. Deputies caught him hosting 75 to 100 people Sunday, one day before the governor's phase 1 started.
People that were there the other day were, they were out of their house and in the sun having a good time with us because they took that chance.
Florida is now in recovery mode, but the governor's executive order still limits our interactions outside of home.
Folks are being asked to weigh their health and safety against their economic survival.
Attorney Robert Shearman says this is causing some to question their constitutional rights.
We have to look at what our constitutional rights are and what's a reasonable basis for limiting them for the collective good of everyone.
Shearman says when there's a compelling governmental interest, your constitutional rights can be limited because they're not absolute. He says this happened back in 1902 when a yellow fever outbreak happened in New Orleans.
And that case evolved from there all the way to the United States Supreme Court. It said governments have a legitimate interest in protecting and enforcing quarantines and protecting the health and safety of the public.
A pandemic falls under that category.
So applying that legal precedent, the U.S. Constitution and the Florida Constitution, the governor's executive orders for valid, enforceable limitations on constitutional rights, folks need to abide by them.
Florida's constitution, again, does allow the governor to enact laws in emergency situations like this one. Local law enforcement also can enforce those laws. This includes social distancing and making sure you're not in those large groups. Today, we've been out here on Fort Myers Beach, and we have seen Lee County deputies riding around on UTVs, making sure that's the case here. Reporting live on Fort Myers Beach, Cristina Mendez, NBC-2.
Time we get out in the everybody we've seen been behaving. There's been big groups.
I don't know. This looks like a pretty big group to me. Exclusive video at 6 shows at least 100 boaters off the coast of Boca Grande line up for a huge floating party. Thanks for watching. I'm Kelly Burns.
The governor's executive order says boats have to stay at least 50 feet apart. NBC2's Cristina Mendez is live at Horton Park in Cape Coral, questioning law enforcement about what they're doing to make sure people stay safe on the water.
Well, most recreational boats are between 18 to 25 feet long. So putting that into perspective, that means you should be about 2 to 2.5 boat lengths from each other. But from what those videos and pictures show, that isn't happening. The water has always served as an escape.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I'm 24. And it just, I don't know, it just captured me when I was young.
But now especially, boating has become a favorite pastime.
You can see people are happier on the water, that's for sure.
An executive order allows people to go boating during the pandemic.
It's been great. It's the only way we can get out.
But there's rules to follow. You need to stay 50 feet away from other boats when anchored. You can't tie up to other boats. There can't be more than 10 people on board at a time. But videos from Boca Grande this weekend show people ignoring social distancing guidelines. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says deputies moved boats that were too close together and told people to leave Stump Pass State Park. By Picnic Island near Sanibel, you can see boaters by the dozen anchored or beached, some maintaining the required distance. The Lee County Sheriff's Office did area checks here 5 times over the weekend. This video showing boats along Miserable Mile is an example of what social distancing on the water should look like, something deputies will be reminding boaters about using these flyers.
My wife and I, we take our little dinghy out and we just travel up and down the channels, and when it's calm, we get out in the river.
Most agencies do say that education has led to complete compliance, but you could face more serious consequences. You could get a fine up to $500 or spend 60 days in jail. Reporting live in Cape Coral tonight, Christina Mendez, NBC-2.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.